a fine start.
I mean, that vault is exactly what a coach and even a judge wants to see. She got amazing pop. Her shoulders were at the correct angle on the vault. She got great distance from the horse. I mean, technically, it was near perfect.
Yeah, and in fact, looking at the replay, that's one of the angle you couldn't quite see that hop back. It almost looked like she just popped up on her toes. So now we go over to bars. This is Amy Romilly.
Starting with toe snap back up to the high bar. Kit Kat's handstand looked good. Going for her dismount with two giants. Full in, full out, and a stuck landing. Great start for Kentucky.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to see if the stadium scoreboard got it right. Somehow they flashed a 9-9 before the judges even put up their scores. They did not. It was a 9-8-7-5. So very good start for Chelsea. That's right where you want to be on your first score of the day.
Absolutely.
Ashlyn Broussard will be second for Georgia. Broussard down the runway. Yurchenko layout full. Small hop back on the landing, but a good vault. She is getting cleaner and cleaner as the weeks go on.
All the girls really. I know at the beginning of the season we had some big hops when we were landing these Yurchenko fulls, but they're getting increasingly smaller and smaller as they keep practicing. And Ash, too, is a huge vaulter. You saw the power she got off the horse. And so once she controls that landing, she'll be unstoppable.
Yeah, here's the replay here. Yeah, just a little bit of that hop back. And again, a 9-8-7-5 for Chelsea Davis, a 9-8-2-5 for Amy Romilly to start her day. So Kentucky will be happy with that and look to build on that opening bar score. And up second, this is Shelby Hilton.
Shelby starting a routine off with a mount over the high bar. Kit Kat's handstand clear hip to a big Ginger. Little leg separation, especially as she went into that overshoot.
The Ginger immediate shoot over combination reminds me of Gina Nuccio.
Yes.
Has tough skills to connect to each other.
It is. You don't see that often. Shelby going for her dismount. Double layout, slight form break on the double layout. You want to see your ankles together to be perfect.
Judges did not find them. Well, we're getting two 9-9s, though the scoreboard just flashed a 9-8-5 for Ashlyn Broussard. I think that is a 9-9 in the first career 9-9 for Ashlyn Broussard. So even though the landing wasn't perfect, you get enough height, you get enough distance, you go over in the right position. The judges seem to like the big vault today.
Yeah, everything else was fantastic.
Kat Hires up third. Beautiful Yurchenko full. Excellent vault for Kat.
Big. You just saw that tiny little hop on the landing. And we all know, we've seen her do it in years past. She can stick that cold, and I know it's coming this season.
And again, it's a 9-8-5 on the scoreboard here for Ashlyn Broussard. Both judges clearly gave her a 9-9, so unless the flasher got something wrong, there is something being lost in translation there. We may have to wait for the official scores to be posted. And it looks like a 9-9 for Kat Hires, so Georgia in good shape here. And now Kayla Senkowski on bars for Kentucky.
Kayla with a big Jaeger to start off her bar routine. Hip cast clear hip to an overshoot. Looked like it's good handstand. Back up to the high bar, getting ready for her dismount to end the routine. Hip cast handstand. One giant into a double layout, stuck landing.
And the landings have been very impressive for Kentucky.
Yes,
it was a 9-7-2-5 for Hilton after a 9-8-2-5 for Romilly. We are going very quickly here in this first rotation. It's been tough to keep up with. And we have the odd scoring mishap right now on Ashlyn Broussard's vault. Kat Hires was definitely a 9-9. We swear to that. Here is Brandie Jay for the first time in 2014. The Yurchenko 1.5, and it is a good one. Excellent job by Brandie Jay. Little hop forward on the landing, but great to see her throwing that more difficult vault a little before the midway point of the season.
Oh, yeah. We knew it was coming at some point. We just weren't sure when. And obviously, she's been doing it like that in practice because it was huge. She was powerful, great height, great distance. I mean, just awesome.
9-8 was the score for Senkowski on bars. And again, you're basically starting with the new vault, so that's meet number one. That's the Oklahoma meet for Brandie Jay with that 1.5. So she'll be a little bit behind cleaning up the landing, but you get to a point where you're comfortable with throwing it in the postseason, and that's where Georgia wants to be. So on bars now, Tiara Phipps.
Tiara with a mount over the high bar into a blind Jaeger overshoot connection. So far, so good. Back up to the high bar. Kit cast handstand. Blind change into a double front. Oh, unfortunately with a fall. It looks like she just let go of the bar a little bit too early, so she didn't get her toes and her heels up in the air. So she just didn't have enough height to complete that second flip.
It was a 9-8-5 for Brandie Jay.
And her score will just continue to go up as the season progresses.
And now Lindsey Cheek, the senior, up fifth for Georgia. Brilliant season going. Approaches the table. Yurchenko layout. Oh boy, how about that one?
Just every time like that. It's incredible. You know exactly what you are going to get when you watch Lindsey Cheek compete.
Now, great vault. We'll get a look at the replay here in just a moment. And we may not have time with the Kentucky bars routine starting. You and I can see that one. Just flared out at the end, that beautiful landing. May have done that little step on the salute. Again, in Kentucky with a fall from Phipps, so needing two big ones from Kayla Hartley and Audrey Harrison. 9-9-5 on this side from Lindsey Cheek. What do we have on the other side? It is a 9-9-5 for Lindsey Cheek. Boy, she started off the season on another level, and she is getting better and better as we go on. She is putting together one of the best seasons since Courtney Coupette's and that era of Georgia gymnastics, what she has done to this point in 2014. I'm blown away. Kayla Hartley up fifth for Kentucky on bars.
Kayla mounting the high bar. blind full into a Tkachev. Unfortunately, 1 second fall. So that means they will have to count a fall.
It was an 8.95 for Tiara Phipps. So a chance to still drop that score. Obviously, the fall counts for 5/10, half of a full point. Now, even if you can manage a 9-2 or a 9-3 right now, you help your score out by 3 or 4 tenths, but very disappointing for Kentucky, obviously, to have to count a fall in the first rotation.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what you do as a gymnast, as part of a team, you've got to finish the routine as strong as you can, because you need to salvage that score to get as many tenths back as you possibly can. So going into her overshoot, back up to the high bar, 2 giants for her dismount, and a double layout, which looked pretty good with a small step on the end. We're
just going to call Ashlyn Broussard's vault a 9.85 because obviously there was just something lost in translation. If we need to correct that later, we will. So with those scoring purposes in mind, Georgia already had a 49.425 on vault. Brittany Rogers can only add to it here as the Gym Dogs will look to drop a 9.85. Brittany, for the first time this season, the 1.5. Little step back on the landing, kind of came in a little bit squatty. Time to work it out for sure, but good to see her doing it for the first time this season.
Absolutely. Like we said, I mean, this was the first time Brittany and Brandie have competed their 1.5s this season. And as we were watching Brittany go, she had so much power. She kept stepping forward out of her vault. So it looked like, you know, she tried to hold back just a little bit because she probably anticipated getting a stick. And that's where sometimes gymnasts can go wrong. They hold their power back a little bit too much because they want that landing so bad, and they end up under-rotating their vault.
Well, whether or not this score even counts for Georgia, it will be the highest vault of the year for the Gym Dogs. So there's no complaining about that. It is a 9.825, and that will be the score that Georgia drops. They'll keep a 49.425 at the end of one rotation. And Kentucky, after a 9.025 from Kayla Hartley, will have Audrey Harrison up in the anchor position.
Audrey with a mount over the low bar. Kip cast handstand, blind change. Big Jaeger and a 3rd fall for Kentucky.
Just a nightmare start for them, and you hate to see that just right off the bat.
That's a hard thing to mentally deal with as a gymnast, to start off in a away meet especially. I mean, even if it was at home, it'd be a little bit better, but since they're here at Georgia, you know, I'm sure they're struggling mentally a little bit because, I mean, it is an awful feeling.
And so all you can do is kind of put that first rotation out of your mind and, you know, try to finish strong here.
Absolutely. Audrey going for her dismount. A really great double layout with a stick landing.
Beautiful. Yeah, the dismounts, again, there was 1 fall on the dismount, and that came from Phipps. The dismounts really were there all day for Kentucky, and some things that you can build on. Obviously, falls are going to happen, and tough to have your first 3 gymnasts hit and your last 3, which is actually where the lineup was shuffled. Well, first we'll have an exhibition here from Lauren Johnson. Your Chenko layout vault. Big vault. Hop back on the landing. Kept both feet together, though. Good position going over the vault. She's got a smile on her face after that one. Very well done. You see the power that's there.
Oh, yeah. When I was watching her warm up, and I saw her first year Chenko full, and I pulled her aside. I said, why are you not in the lineup? Because obviously we all saw how big that was. And you know, the thing with the coaches is they're just trying to get her to work on her landings because she did have a little bit of a hop and a step back, and so she needs to clean that up. But once she does, I mean, we saw the power she just got off the vault. It's huge.
And she got a 9.8 from one judge, 9.7 from the other. So a 9.75 for Lauren Johnson in exhibition for Georgia. And again, Kentucky, a very tough start. We're waiting on the final score here for Audrey Harrison before we send it to our first break of the day. Again, she missed the skill, and so the start value is affected as well. And it looks like that's going to be an 8.8 for Harrison. So that will be the score that is dropped, and Kentucky will maintain a 47.325. So a tough way for Kentucky to begin. They trail Georgia by 2 points. 49.425, though, for Georgia. Highest vault of the year, and they are off and running.
They look awesome. I mean, obviously, we just keep getting better and better throughout the season. We just got our highest vault team score. I mean, it just shows you how already we're halfway through the season and how much we've progressed and learned from our mistakes and grown.
And now Georgia gets ready to go to an event where they are the #1 team in the nation, the uneven bars. So Georgia will be excited about that. Before we do that, in between rotations today, we'll be taking a look at some other videos that you can find on GeorgiaDogs.com. And as we end our first rotation here with Georgia leading by 2 1/10, 49.425 for the Gym Dogs, 47.325 for Kentucky. We're going to go back to last Friday night, take a look at those highlights again. Plenty of good for Georgia, especially in those first 3 rotations against Florida. The Gym Dogs with a 196.7 on the road, so we'll take a look at those highlights from last Friday night in Gainesville. You are watching live video coverage of Georgia Gymnastics on GeorgiaDogs.com from IMG. Lindsey Cheek off to a wonderful start in her freshman season. Big Tkachev. Second handstand is good. Shoot over to handstand, very nice. Circles around up to the high bar. Kip cast handstand, another good one. 2 giants, double layout, stuck landing for Lindsey Cheek. Absolutely no movement of any kind on that landing. And it's a 9.975 for Lindsey Cheek. But we knew it was good. I don't think we knew it was that good. A career high for the senior. Brittany Rogers, meanwhile, beautiful Stalder-Riekna combination. Gorgeous handstand, shoot over to handstand, excellent. Up to the high bar. Another flawless handstand. Full out, stuck landing for Brittany Rogers. It is Chelsea Davis after a 9.95 for Brittany Rogers. So the #1 bars team in the nation, the University of Georgia, looking like it so far here on the road. Chelsea with a beautiful handstand into Tkachev. Second handstand locked on top of that high bar. Toe-on, toe-off handstand is perfect. Shoot over to handstand looks good. Uphill to the high bar. Excellent routine going here for Chelsea. Her last handstand is locked on top of the bar. Two giants, double layout, stuck landing for Chelsea Davis. This will be a big one for Georgia as Chelsea Davis finishes up rotation #1 in style for the Gym Dogs. Continuing what has been a phenomenal start for her this senior season. She is down the runway. Yurchenko layout full, small hop back.
So very nice. I love that she gets distance, and I love that she's always clean on her landings no matter what.
Lindsey Cheek just had a 9.925 in the anchor position. Brittany Rogers, Yurchenko layout full,
Wow.
great vault.
Awesome, that was beautiful, and look at her face. She knows it was awesome. I love it.
Mary Beth Box up fourth for Georgia, starting with a big double pike. Huge air, great landing. Excellent start for the sophomore. One pass remaining, round off back 1.5, front layout. Good job. Oh, Georgia fired up over that one, and rightly so. Mary Beth thrilled with her performance, and excellent, excellent routine. 3 in a row would be big. Brandie first pass, double tuck, excellent. Brandie's second pass, excellent job. Final pass for Brandie Jay, big double pike, excellent. Oh, what a landing, what a routine from Brandie Jay. Florida has indeed surpassed that 49.725 NCAA record from last year's Super 6 with a 49.8 already at home, and one routine left to go. Back handspring layout for Kaylan Earls as she continues undaunted. Kaylan's dismount, round off, double tuck, stuck landing for Kaylan Earls. Oh, how about that in a very unfriendly atmosphere on the balance beam. Kaylan Earls delivers among her best routines of her Georgia career. Had the highest bar score since 1999 when Georgia scored a 49.6 at Florida last Friday night, now getting to do it at home. Of course, no changes in the bars lineup. Why would you change a thing? Brandie Jay leading off, Kat Hires is second, Kiera Brown third, Lindsey Cheek fourth, Brittany Rogers fifth, and Chelsea Davis is sixth. For Kentucky on vault, looking to climb back into this meet just a bit, Audrey Harrison will be first, Marissa Buechler will be second, Shelby Hilton will be third, Shannon Mitchell fourth, Kenzie Hedges fifth, and Holly Cunningham will be sixth. So Georgia averaging on bars this year a 49.435. That is good enough for #1 in the country. And the most amazing thing, and this is all courtesy our sports information director extraordinaire, Ben Beatty, Georgia has increased their bar score every meet this season. And we're 5 meets deep now. So from Oklahoma to Stanford to LSU to Iowa to Florida, the bar score has increased every time. I don't know that they have much room left to improve on a 49.6. So at some point that trend has to come to an end, you would think. But Georgia in great shape, and they're just so confident right now on bars. I think that's the difference between bars and every other event. I don't know that Georgia is more conditioned to swing bars than they are to do vault or to be on beam, but the confidence level is just sky high.
Yeah, I mean, I know for me, bars is definitely an event where maybe if a gymnast is nervous beforehand, that's one thing, but as you start swinging, you start going, you don't think about anything else. When you're on balance beam, you're looking down at this 4-inch beam that you got to stay on. So that's a little bit different, but when you're on bars, you get into your swing, you get into your groove, and basically you forget about everything else. So I think that's where their confidence comes in. They're a great bars team. Week in and week out, we've seen them hit routine after routine on this event, so they have great things to come.
Before we get there, though, Audrey Harrison on vault for Kentucky.
With a front handspring onto the board and a front pike off. We don't see that much, especially not in college gymnastics. She had a really good landing. It looks like her feet were apart just a tad. You want to make sure you keep those feet and ankles together on the landing. But overall, good vault, diversity, which we don't see much in college gymnastics, so that's nice to see. Curious to see what that'll score.
Looks like we're seeing a 9.8 on this side. That is a 10.0 start value. Well, the judges don't seem to agree on that.
Well, so far the second event is going slower than the first.
Yes.
There's that.
Anytime start value comes into question. One judge had a 10.0 start value, the other has a 9.9. We'll get back to that. Brandie Jay leading off for Georgia on bars. Beautiful handstand on the low bar. Shapashnikova to the high bar. Shoot over to handstand looks good. Circles around up to the high bar. Kip cast handstand, beautiful. Line change into her Horkina. Excellent. Great routine going here for Brandie. Last handstand looks good. Giant. Full out.
Yeah,
stuck landing for Brandie Jay. Beautiful routine. That is a heck of a leadoff routine for Georgia on bars.
She is just an incredibly consistent bar swinger. And the funny thing about today is she actually struggled with her routine one time in warm-ups. And I don't think I've ever seen Brandie fall. And so for her to come out in competition mode and hit a routine like that is just awesome.
Well, that's why you have her in that leadoff spot. She delivers as good a routine as she has done this season. Up second, Marissa Buechler.
Yurchenko full, Her chest was a little bit down on her legs on that landing. It looks like she took a couple stutter steps forward as well, so that's going to be a deduction. The judge is looking for an up and down landing. You want your shoulders all the way up so you're in a straight position. So that might be a little bit lower score for Kentucky.
9-9, meanwhile, for Brandie Jay on bars. That matches her season high, and if I'm not mistaken, her career high as well. That does. Career high for Brandie Jay in the leadoff position. So Georgia off to the races here on bars, and now Kat Hires gets to pick up that baton and keep running with it.
It's funny how usually you expect your first gymnast to have the lowest score of the lineup. And so for us to start off with a 9-9 on bars, I mean, that just shows you what a great bar team we have.
Yeah, we were just 8 days ago, we saw back-to-back perfect 10s. How you get there is have a really high leadoff score and give them nowhere to go but up. Kat Hires, beautiful first handstand. Blind change into her piked Jaeger, excellent. That looked as good as it has all year. Second handstand, shoot over to handstand, perhaps a touch short on that. Back up to the high bar. Final handstand looks good. Two giants. Double layout, step back on the landing. Excellent routine overall for Kat Hires.
She has worked so hard on this event for the past 4 years, and so to see her come out and compete week in and week out consistently for this team, it's awesome because I know she wanted this bar spot so bad.
She just seemed to levitate on that piked Jaeger today. That had a lot of air underneath it. Shelby Hilton up third on vault for Kentucky.
Shelby with the Yurchenko full as well. Her landing was a little bit better than the vault before, but it looked like she turned a tad early on the table.
That was a 9.625 for Buechler, by the way, that second vault after the 9.75 from Harrison. Kat Hires has a 9.8. Yeah, it looked like just the shoot over to handstand was a little off, and then the step on the landing. There's your 2/10. But overall, really excellent routine. Kiera Brown up third for Georgia.
This is one of my favorite bar routines.
A week removed from being SEC Specialist of the Week for a 9.95 on bars.
For a reason.
The freshman mounts the high bar. First handstand dead on top. Clear hip, looks good. Oh, big Tkachev and too big. She just let herself get a little far away from the bar there, and first fall, unfortunately, of her Georgia career.
She was just so high, she probably couldn't see the bar anymore. It's just incredible what power she has.
Yeah, she got so much separation from the bar, and as you can see, that can be a bad thing. So Georgia has had a fall on bars before, and they did against Iowa. It was Kat Hires that fell in the second spot. Georgia had a 49.525, so still capable of big things. Sky-high dismount for Kiera Brown. I mean, she's got power to spare, and it ends up biting her a little bit right there, but I think that she's in a good position mentally she'll be able to bounce back from that and be fine.
Oh yeah, if you want big success, you got to go big with the big skills, and so that's exactly what she's doing. Mistakes are bound to happen sometimes, but you know what? That's a bar team they don't want to change because it's so great.
There on vault, that was Shannon Mitchell for Kentucky. We're just coming out of the Kiera Brown replay there. We'll see what this score. Shelby Hilton had a 9.75 on her Yurchenko full just before this, so pair of 9.75s and a 9.625 for Kentucky. Lindsey Cheek getting ready to go next for Georgia on bars. After the first fall of the afternoon for the Gym Dogs. Bars have been tripping everyone up today. We've had 4 total falls on bars now, and Georgia just wants to obviously limit that number. A little bit of a discussion between the judges. These front handspring entries to the vault are giving everyone fits.
Gosh, I haven't seen one of those since my club days.
We had seemingly a disparity between the two judges on the start value for the last one of those for Buechler. Judge on the near side gave it a 10.0 start value. The judge on the far side gave it a 9.9 start value.
I guess with a skill like that that's so rare, some judges may overlook and not really pay attention to what kind of start value it has because you really don't see it in college gymnastics anymore.
Well, this vault scores very well for Kentucky, 9.85, highest of the day. And now on bars for Georgia, Lindsey Cheek. Career high 9.975 last week at Florida. Handstand, toe shoot handstand are good. Big Tkachev. Another good handstand for Lindsey. Shoot over to handstand looks excellent.
It's gorgeous.
Back up to the high bar. Kip cast handstand. Very slow, very methodical routine here for Lindsey. Two giants. The double layout. Oh, there was no doubt that was going to be a stuck landing. Lindsey Cheek with a beautiful bars routine. An unbelievable double layout dismount. That should be studied.
Can we start chanting 10? Can we start that?
That is absolutely gorgeous.
Just incredible. Every single routine, this girl delivers.
And that double layout is perfect. It's just perfect.
But she just floats in the air, and you can see that arch in her second layout right before she lands.
Back on vault here, this is Kenzie Hedges for Kentucky.
With a big Yurchenko full, she had a step to the side, which judge will take a small deduction for because you're looking, if you're going to step, you want to step backwards to show you have a little bit more power.
The cheer you hear behind us is Lindsey Cheek making it 2 for 2 on 9.95s today. 9.95 vault, 9.95 bars, and she's got beam left.
I tell you what, you're so right. She is giving Coupettes a run for her money this year.
We'll get back to that thought in just a moment here. Brittany Rogers now on the bars. First handstand is a good one. Stalled her into her Reekna. Second handstand is good. Shoot over to handstand.
Perfect.
Circles around, back up to the high bar. Last handstand now. Giant full out. Just a little shuffle of the feet on the landing.
Gorgeous routine from Brittany, though. You can just see how technically precise she is, and you really see that elite gymnastics coming out, and I love to see that because she swings so beautifully.
Kenzie Hedges had a 9.825 on vault for Kentucky after the 9.85 from Shannon Mitchell, so those scores start to pick up for the Wildcats in the anchor spot. Holly Cunningham.
Holly with Yurchenko full. She tried to save that landing, which means she went up on her toes, chest down, which is going to be a big deduction, but you got to give her at least she fought for it.
And that's kind of like what we saw from Brittany Rogers. Sometimes when you want that stick too much, you're almost better just taking that, get your chest up, take that step back or that hop back, and save yourself just a little bit. Meanwhile, a 9.875 for Brittany Rogers on bars, and 1 to go, Chelsea Davis. We're going to get to study Chelsea Davis's new double layout dismount in depth a little bit later in our broadcast today, but we'll get to see it in real time here as Chelsea mounts the high bar. First handstand is perfect. Big Tkachev, excellent. Second handstand, toe-on, toe-off handstand looks good. Shoot over handstand.
Just perfect.
Really hold it there on the low bar, back up to the high bar. Last handstand is locked on top.
Oh, she's just showing off.
Two giants, double layout.
Oh, stack landing for Chelsea.
What a way for Chelsea Davis to bring us halfway home.
Oh my gosh.
Two beautiful stuck landings, and that'll get the crowd on their feet chanting for that 10.
I'm going to do it. I want to stand up.
Holly Cunningham finished up with a 9.6 for Kentucky, and the Wildcats go 48.8 on vault. Chelsea Davis with a great bars routine for Georgia, and we're going to get an exhibition from Lauren Johnson.
That is exactly the reason why Chelsea anchors this bar team.
9.925 for Chelsea Davis.
I still think she should have got a 10.
Plenty of time yet in that Georgia career. We've been talking about it now that we've seen so many of them. There were two last night, Keitra Hunter and Lamencia Hall, both on floor exercise. The week before, we were witness to back-to-back perfect 10s by Bridget Sloan and Keitra Hunter on floor, and they were all excellent routines. And we were starting to say, hey, it's been a while since we've had one in segment. Grace Taylor on beam against UCLA back in 2010, the last one. Here is Lauren Johnson in exhibition, a little short on her first handstand. Clear hip look good. Big Ginger, excellent. Shoot over to handstand. Working on that one a little bit. Circles around up to the high bar. Last handstand is good. Two giants, big double layout.
Huge.
Just a small step back.
Great first routine for her. I know how excited she was to get out on ball and to get out on bars today, so she should be very happy with her performance because she can definitely break into these lineups.
Yeah, just looked a little bit rushed there on some of those early handstands, but once you can feel her getting into the flow a little bit, relaxing, letting it open up a little bit, and again, just power for days. We've seen some really beautiful dismounts by Georgia. None better than Lindsey Cheek and Chelsea Davis, who both absolutely planted their dismounts. 49.450 on bars for Georgia, so that does break the streak of increasing the bar score every time, but it actually improves slightly on their average of a 49.435 this season, so Georgia will likely retain their #1 bars ranking. That was a 9.775 for Lauren Johnson in exhibition, by the way, for Georgia, so she's gotten to exhibition twice on vault and bars, and things flowing smoothly right now for Georgia. 98.875 at the midway point, 96.125 for Kentucky as they start to pick up a little bit after a slow start on bars.
Oh yeah, they've obviously had a rock-solid first two events, and so, I mean, we're going to beam, third event, and this is where everybody really wants to see how these lineup changes are going to impact our beam score and our beam performance. So I'm excited to see what the girls are going to do. They warmed up beautifully. They look good, so I expect great things today.
Katie, you have perfected the art of the cliffhanger. Everyone wants to see how Georgia's going to do on beam, and you've got to come back. We're going to take a little bit of a break. Earlier this week, right here at Stegman Coliseum, it was Georgia and Kentucky in a different sport, women's basketball, and Georgia got a big 58-56 win over the Wildcats, who were at the time the number 13 team in the nation. So we're going to take a look at those highlights and come back for rotation number 3. Again, your scores at the halfway point: Georgia 98.875, Kentucky 96.125. You are watching live video coverage of Georgia Gymnastics on GeorgiaDogs.com from IMG. He will be up 4th, Lindsey Cheek 5th, and Kaylan Earls 6th for Georgia. For Kentucky on floor, Shannon Mitchell leading off, Taylor Persinger will be 2nd, Tiara Phipps will be 3rd, Kenzie Hedges 4th, Audrey Harrison 5th, and Kayla Hartley 6th. So, new gymnast in a leadoff position, Mary Beth Box. She has been rock solid this year, so you want that consistency up first. And then Sarah Persinger, I know everyone has been clamoring to see her after her terrific sophomore season, especially on beam in 2013. So, if she can get back to that form that she was in last year, she becomes all of a sudden a huge weapon for Georgia on balance beam.
Oh, absolutely. And like you said, Mary Beth has been rock solid already this season, even though it's her first year competing beam. And so I feel extremely confident having her in that leadoff spot. And then to just get Percy back in this lineup, because she brings a whole new level to this team, especially on beam and floor, because she's so graceful to watch. And so, I mean, it's her debut of 2014, and I'm excited to see her compete.
Yeah, I think there is definitely a lot of excitement there. Her career high on beam is a 9.9. She had several last year. She was, for the most part, she earned the leadoff spot on beam by about midway through last season, and she was as steady as they come. So it's just a matter of seeing if she can recapture that form from last year. So we are eagerly anticipating this beam rotation for Georgia after a pretty tough one for the Gym Dogs on Friday night in Gainesville. Here is, for the first time in the leadoff position, Mary Beth Box, the Georgia sophomore. Good tuck full.
You can really tell the level of confidence a gymnast has by the way they move, and Mary Beth has such sharp poses in everything she does. You can tell that she is so comfortable up there on that beam.
Back handspring layout looks good as well. The scores for Mary Beth this year, 9-7, 9-8-7-5, 9-7, 9-8-7-5, and 9-8.
So far looking rock solid. She is attacking this routine.
Good full turn, no problem there. Front aerial into her twiddle jump.
Flawless.
Excellent. That was, yeah, no movement of any kind.
That's exactly why she's in this leadoff position on such a hard event to lead.
Just that little balance check on the series. Everything else has been spectacular for Mary Beth. Ready for a dismount, round off 1.5. Beautiful landing, and there she goes, handling the leadoff position with aplomb. Excellent start for Mary Beth Box.
Looks like she's going to keep that position next week, too.
I think so. I think we've solved one problem right there. And again, you know, I give credit to Dana Durante. Setting the lineup is such a big part of coaching, and it's so easy for us or for fans to say, oh, why you want to see this person here, this person here. They see the team do so many turns in practice. They see so much that we don't get to see as we are underway on floor with Shannon Mitchell. Beautiful first pass there.
Oh, yeah. No problems at all. It looked like in her double pike she had a little bit of flex feet. But
just going to practice on Thursday for a feature for the upcoming Gym Dog Show, which, by the way, you can watch on CSS Wednesday at 2, GeorgiaDogs.com at 2:30. We were there for just an hour and a half, give or take, of practice. The team did nothing but work on beam, and that's 1 hour of one practice of one day. And there's so much that we saw that you just don't get to see out here. And so the coaches, they know what they're doing. And to make a change at this particular juncture, you know, I think they know precisely what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, I was a gymnast for a very long time, starting at a young age. And not only that, but I went to the University of Georgia, competed here for 4 years. So I know how many turns in practice and in the gym that these girls take that none of the fans, no audience members ever get to see. Unfortunately, they can't see all the hard work that's put in every single day. And so these gym dogs have given their blood, sweat, and tears on this event. And so I'm glad it's finally paying off.
Excellent first routine on floor there for Shannon Mitchell as well. Looks like that Kentucky has had a score corrected, and it might have to do with some of the star value issues on vault, if I had to guess. So they are at a 96.225 entering this rotation, which is half a tenth higher than we had them. So something has been corrected. We don't have an itemized score sheet in front of us to see exactly what it is, but 96.225 for Kentucky entering this rotation. Mary Beth Box getting things started for Georgia with a 9.85. So that's a phenomenal job in that leadoff role. And as you said, I think that Georgia will. I think we'll see her there next week at Tuscaloosa.
Oh, yeah.
In a little less friendly environment.
Yeah, they're not too fond of Georgia there.
Ashlyn Broussard in the second spot after a fall last week. One arm back handspring layout, has no problem today.
Awesome.
Split jump, straddle jump, huge splits there.
Oh,
way
yeah.
up over 180 on that straddle. Shannon Mitchell opening with a 9.825 for Kentucky, so excellent first score on floor there for the Wildcats. Side aerial, little balance check.
She fought to hide that wobble, though. That's exactly what you want to do when you're up there.
Small hop back on the landing, but excellent job overall, and just so big, especially for a freshman. You fall 1 week, you get the chance to remain in the lineup, and you get a hit routine the next week. Good to see.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I swear gymnastics is more of a mental sport, really. And so for her to fall 1 week, come back this week, and hit a solid routine for this team, you know, she's feeling pretty confident right now.
Trying to build on that 9.825 for Mitchell. Here is Taylor Persinger.
Taylor going for her first pass. Round off back handspring, big double tuck. Huge first pass in this routine. Taylor's leaps, big switch ring.
Going to be a 9.8 for Ashlyn Broussard after the 9.85 to open for Mary Beth Box.
So far, so good for Georgia on beam. Taylor getting ready to finish up this floor routine with the third pass. Ow. That made my back hurt. Setting up for her final pass. Run, punch, front, Rudy into a back layout step out. Normally with those passes you see a front handspring in front of that Rudy, but she decided to make it a little bit more powerful and knock that out.
So Kentucky has hit their first 2 on floor, as has Georgia on beam, and now moved up to third in the lineup this week, Brittany Rogers. Brittany made some changes to this routine a few weeks back after a slow start to the season. Cat leap, switch leap, split quarter. Back handspring layout.
That new series.
Yep. Just a big break there for Brittany, no fall.
That's what you got to do, though. If you do have a break, you keep fighting to stay on that beam.
Yeah, huge difference.
Squeeze your toes as hard as you possibly can.
9.775 for Perrier. And the Rogers.
Crowd favorite.
Excellent job there. That gave her a little bit of trouble at Florida. It didn't turn into a fall, but definitely a little bit of a miss on that skill. Full twisting back handspring, full dismount. Looking excellent there. Great finish for Brittany. So the one big break.
Yeah.
And again, still getting used to that series in competition.
Like you said, this is a new routine, and even though she's done these skills individually forever, it's different when you put them into a routine.
Right.
Despite what you may think, because your endurance level changes, your breathing changes, your whole mindset changes because you've got to do all these skills in one set.
A little talk from head coach Dana Durrani with Brittany after that one. Got to get her back in a positive frame of mind. She's got to finish her day in the all-around on floor. And starting with a big double tuck is Tiara Phipps on floor for Kentucky.
Tiara going pretty quickly into her second pass. Front handspring, front full, front layout, stuck landing. No lunge or anything.
Judges don't agree on Brittany Rogers' routine, but it ends up as a 9.7, 2/10 of separation on those scores, a 9.6 and a 9.8.
Third and final pass coming up for Kentucky. Run, punch, Rudy into a double stack jump. The pass looked pretty good. I think the judge will want to see a little more amplitude on that stag jump after her Rudy.
And now one of the most anticipated routines of 2014, Sarah Persinger getting a start on her junior season on the beam for the first time.
So good to see her up there finally.
Cat leap into a full turn with her leg horizontal. Into a full turn.
Great turn combination.
Sometimes you just got to get through that first skill. You can exhale a little bit. Front aerial
Solid.
beat jump. Excellent. Ready for her series. Back handspring layout. A little bit of a wobble off of that, but fights through it okay.
And somehow still makes it look so pretty.
Switch leap, split quarter combination. And Sarah also training floor, looking to get back on that event as well. And I think, you know, if she can get to that point where she can earn her spot back in either of these lineups on beam and floor, she'll make such a big difference for Georgia.
Yeah, I watched her tumble today, and she was looking really strong. So hopefully we'll see her in that floor lineup soon.
And she's just got that kind of grace. She's got a very unique presence about her that really gives you a different look and a different skill set. And just a small hop on the dismount, but great routine overall. Great to see Sarah Persinger back out there for the Gym Dogs.
Oh, yeah. I know everybody here in Stegman loves seeing her out there.
Good to get her first routine at home, too. Likely, I think we'll see her in the beam lineup again next week in Alabama, where she'll really get to prove her mettle there at Coleman Coliseum. So, just good to see one of those boxes checked off. First routine of the year for Sarah Persinger.
Oh, yeah. She can breathe now.
Back on floor, Kenzie Hedges. After a 9.8 for Tiara Phipps. So, Kentucky, through their first three, has averaged a 9.8. 9.825, 9.775, now a 9.8 for Phipps. Hedges up fourth.
Going for her second pass. Round off back handspring, double tuck. That looked good. On her first pass, that double pike, she landed with her chest down just a tad. But that second double tuck looked pretty perfect.
.9775 is the score for Sarah Persinger. That'll count. 2 to go for Georgia. Lindsey Cheek and Kaylan Earls.
Kinsey going for her third and final pass of the routine. Round off back 1.5, punch layout half. Look very solid. Great ending to a floor routine. So far, Kentucky looking pretty solid on floor.
No doubt. Yeah, this has been their strongest event of the day. And Lindsey Cheek getting ready to go here on the balance beam for Georgia. And one of the strangest things is we're just a couple weeks into the season. This is the halfway point of the home season, and I think it means something to everyone, but it means something extra to these seniors. You really start counting down the number of routines you have left, the number of chances you get to do the moonwalk here in Stegman Coliseum. Back handspring layout for Lindsey. Absolutely dead in the middle of the beam. No movement, no balance check of any kind.
And she doesn't only do this in competition. She does it in practice every turn, every day. The kid's incredible.
Gigantic switch side. 9.8 meanwhile for Hedges on floor. Side aerial. Little balance check. Came in a little off to the side, but she's a pro.
Oh, yeah. You know what? When you have a little wobble like that, you just try to fake it, hide it, no matter what. Just keep going with the flow. The judges don't know your routine necessarily, so if you need to improv something, you improv.
That comes from that veteran presence as well. Great routine going here. Just the dismount remaining. Cat leap, gainer full. Stuck landing for Lindsey Cheek.
Just like she does every single week.
I'm waiting for a meet where we don't have to talk to her afterward in the post-meet interviews. She keeps racking up 9.9s the way that she has. 2 9.95s already today. This may fall a little short of that threshold, but it's a darn good beam routine.
Oh, for sure.
Audrey Harrison up 5th. This is a familiar floor music for her. After another 9.8 from Hedges, so 9.8 average for Kentucky here on floor.
Audrey, first pass, round off back handspring double pike. Landing looked good, no issues. Stepping back into the corner, going for her second pass. Front handspring, front full, front layout. Good lunge out of that. So far, very solid start.
9.875 for Lindsey Cheek. That is just, I got to make sure my math is right here. That is just the 7th time in 24 routines this season that she has not gotten a 9.9 or above. She is 17 for 24, 9.9 and above.
Who does that? Only Lindsey Cheek.
I think that math is right.
Sounds good to me.
I'm close. It's close.
Audrey going for her third pass on floor. Front handspring, front Rudy. She had her chest down. What the judge is looking for is straight up and down landing. Lunge back if you need to. So there will be a slight deduction on that last pass.
All right, I'll correct my math here. 13 for 18 for Lindsey Cheek. So 13 9.9s or above, only 5 9.9 or 9.875 or below. And a bunch of those have been 9.875s.
She can't be mad about that.
Unreal senior season for her. When a 9.875 is a disappointment, you're doing something right. In the anchor spot, Kaylan Earls, she is coming off of a career-high 9.95 last week at Florida. Back handspring layout, excellent. Perfect. Another 9.8 for Kentucky from Harrison. One left for the Wildcats, that is Kayla Hartley. Side aerial, no problem there.
So far, Kaylan looking very solid in this routine. It's going to be a big one.
She stuck that double tuck dismount in Gainesville right after Florida's second perfect 10, came up with a 9.95 to end the meet. I'd love to see that happen for her here at home. Kaylan ready for her dismount, round off double tuck. Small shuffle, but a great landing and a great routine for Kaylan Earls. And this will give Georgia a big pick-me-up at the end of their beam rotation. And for the first time in 2014, Georgia has hit 6 for 6. Now, there's plenty of room for improvement, 1 through 6, but for the first time all season, Georgia's found a lineup that hits in every spot. And right now, you can't ask for much more than that.
Oh, no. You know the girls are excited right now. Dana's excited right now because that's what you want to see from your team, to give the girls a correction and for them to take it.
And a fall on a double pike opening pass for Kayla Hartley. So Kentucky is locked where they are at a 49 flat on floor, which is still their best rotation of the day, so they'll be fine with that.
Under rotated that double pike just a hair. Going for her second pass, front handspring, front layout, front full. Big pass.
9.85 is the score for Kaylan Earls on beam, and it's a 49.150 for Georgia. We will get an exhibition from Kiera Brown, so stay tuned before we take a break for that.
Third pass coming up on floor. Round off back handspring, double tuck. Landing looked pretty good. She might have picked up her front foot just a hair, which might be a slight deduction. You either got to stick those passes or take a lunge without a deduction.
So again, before we take a break, we are going to have this exhibition routine for Kiera Brown, freshman getting to compete for the first time on balance beam in her Georgia career. So an exciting moment here to get to see her. So just as we have Sarah Persinger, who successfully challenged for one of those 6 spots, this is a testament to the depth that Georgia has. We know that we've seen Morgan Reynolds do a great job on beam, so Georgia's got plenty of options.
Absolutely, and that's what a team needs, because you don't want any gymnast to get complacent with their spot in the lineup. You've got to always be pushing each other. And so to have depth like this on beam, that's great because nobody's safe in their spot. Great
back handspring layout. And oddly enough, for how well Kiera Brown has done on bars, Georgia, we were talking to some of the coaches, and they said they were most excited to see her on beam of any event. Switch leap, straddle quarter.
Well, so far, she's looking awesome, so I don't blame them. Switch half.
Thank you.
I got you.
The wheels were turning slowly.
Last time I saw that, Krista Tonello was working that on beam.
Kiera ready for her dismount. Round off, 1.5. Little step forward on the landing. Excellent routine. Big smile. Well deserved for her.
You know she enjoyed that. That was an amazing start off routine for a freshman on beam.
And I'll tell you what, Georgia counted a 9.775. There's a chance that this score would have counted. We'll see exactly what the judges do, and again, then we'll take our final break of the day. As I alluded to earlier, we got the chance to take a very, very in-depth look at Chelsea Davis's new dismount on bar. She has transitioned from that full out to a double layout, and the video in total was about 6.5 minutes. So we'll show you about the first half of it here, and if you are interested, we would encourage you after the meet today to go search it out on GeorgiaDogs.com.
Should. It's a great video. I watched it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
For the dismount takes about 1.25 seconds, and we managed to fill 6 minutes on it. So it is an in-depth discussion of it, but we'll get to check that out in a moment. Just want to get Kiera Brown's bar score if we can. Judges are determined to make us wait. We'll have it for you coming up on the other side of this. We'll step away, take a look at Chelsea Davis' new dismount on bars. Georgia leading at the three-quarter mark, 148.025 for the Gym Dogs, 145.225 for Kentucky. You're watching live video coverage of Georgia Gymnastics on GeorgiaDogs.com from IMG. Back up to the high bar. Two Giants. Half in, half out. Stuck landing for Chelsea Davis. Dead stuck in the mat. Half in, half out. Stuck landing. Half in, half out. Stuck landing yet again. Stuck landing. Stuck landing. Stuck landing. Chelsea Davis. Stuck landing for Chelsea Davis. Stuck landing for Chelsea Davis. Stuck landing. Half in, half out. Stuck landing for Chelsea Davis. And what a start for the Gym Dogs on bars in the NCAA championship. The I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, the inquiries are filed, and all that.
Good stuff.
That's what happened last year. Kentucky had an inquiry on floor exercise in the final rotation, got back half a tenth, and we signed off thinking Georgia had won, and found out later that it was, in fact, a tie. Neither here nor there. Shannon Mitchell starts things on balance beam.
Shannon started off her routine with a full turn with a little bit of bobble, and unfortunately had a fall on her flight series. Not a great start for Kentucky on beam.
No, and we saw a couple times Georgia had some issues on their series. Brittany Rogers and Sarah Persinger both kind of bent over at the waist, big deduction, but you were able to see them kind of dig in and fight to avoid that fall, and Kentucky unfortunately just not able to get that there from Mitchell as she pops off and takes a fall in the first position.
Oh. And Shannon going for her leap pass, which was a switch leap, tuck full. Unfortunately, she just suffered her second fall of the routine.
So Kentucky will try to bounce back from this one, and again, right when they're starting to get some momentum, good floor series. They did have a fall in their anchor spot, but the first 5 all hit. They were able to count a 49, and just a tough way to start on beam.
This just shows how important this anchor spot on beam is, though. We saw how great Mary Beth did in her routine with a huge score, and that gave momentum to the rest of the team on beam. And so to start off beam like this for Kentucky, you know, it might make it a little bit harder for the girls later down in the lineup.
Kaylan Earls beginning things for Georgia. Good first pass, and she is off and running. That front handspring Rudy into the back handspring layout step out.
I just love watching Kaylan do this routine because she gets so into it. She gets the audience into it. She has a great time. You can tell by the wink she has and the smile on her face.
Her season high is a 9.875. Big double pike second pass. Excellent.
No problems whatsoever.
I think Kaylan, as much as any gymnast that I can think of, is victimized just by having spent her entire career in that leadoff spot. And she really does. She has the ability to tumble. She sells a floor performance like no other. She's so much fun to watch. And, you know, it's very tough to see her get that big score. Her career high is a 9.9.
It's like we said, usually the bigger scores come later down in the lineup, and she can hold her own if she were to go 5th or 6th on floor, but she is the most consistent, which is why they put her up first on floor.
Finishing with a double tuck. Excellent. Huge. Great landing. Beautiful start. Crowd absolutely loves it.
And that's just what you want from your leadoff position. And so, like Boo did on beam, Kaylan just nailed her floor routine, and so it gets the girls excited, it gets them ready to go, and has confidence in each other.
8.45 was the score for Shannon Mitchell, and that will be what Kentucky looks to drop if they can. Sinkowski, Romilly, Harrison, Buechler, and Cunningham are the next 5 for the Wildcats. We're just getting a look at some of the replays here from Kaylan Earls. The double pike, the double tuck looked
flawless.
Perfect. They look great. So here is Kayla Sinkowski for the Wildcats.
Kayla starting off her routine with a full turn. No problems. Front aerial for Kayla into a connected back tuck. Unfortunately, her first fall of the routine, which means they will count a fall tonight.
Meanwhile, a career high 9.9 for Kaylan Earls. Excellent first routine, putting Georgia in great position on floor.
Kayla switch leap, split jump into a connected twiddle jump. Solid leap pass. Hitch kick, aerial, tuck full dismount with a stuck landing. So good finish for Kayla on beam, even though it's not the ideal start to Kentucky's event.
Yeah, beam is just getting Kentucky fit so far this year. They have not had a beam rotation above a 48.675 so far this season. So, and just trying to hammer that one out. Plenty of time left in the regular season. Meanwhile, Georgia trying to build on a 9-9 from Kaylan Earls. Here is Kat Hires, the senior in the second spot for the Gym Dogs. Kat opening with a double pike. Huge
pass,
as always. Good leaps over here in the near side corner. Kat ready for her second pass. Front handspring, front full, front layout.
Beautiful.
Stuck that one. Kind of cleaned it up into an arabesque position there.
It's funny because when gymnasts do struggle on landings and certain passes, they can arabesque out of it like that for no deduction.
And sometimes that's just the savviness of the senior who's been through it, knows it's not quite right. How are you going to fix it? Just hit that arabesque and
hide it.
Keep on moving.
Exactly.
Finishing up, double tuck. Excellent.
Gorgeous. Great routine for Kat.
Now, terrific job by the senior. I may be mistaken on this, but no 4-inch mat on any of those landings, which I think is a first for her as well, to just do the whole thing on the floor.
Yeah, usually some of the girls, because of ankle issues, knee issues, anything that's hurting really, they'll start off the season tumbling onto these softer mats just to preserve the joints and the bones. But later in the season, come postseason, you don't want to use those mats because it gives the impression to the judges that you're weaker and you can't handle the floor. So they start weaning you off the mats about halfway through the season.
She looked good there, no problems. It was a 9-0 for Senkowski after the 8-4-5 from Shannon Mitchell, and a good routine going here for Amy Romilly as Kat Hires gets a 9-8-5. That will match her season high.
Amy with a solid start to a routine with a back handspring, back layout. Side aerial, unfortunately, another fall. So Kentucky will be counting 2 falls on beam so far.
Yeah, tough day for Kentucky. They fell 3 times on bars, counting 2 there, fell 3 times on beam in their first 3 so far. So hoping that their back half of the lineup can pick them up a little bit.
Going for her dismount, round off, 1.5. Nearly stuck landing. It looked like she had it, and then she took a small step backwards.
Up third for Georgia, Morgan Reynolds, freshman Athens native. Not in the beam lineup this week, so she gets to put all her energy here into this floor routine, and she has got energy to spare.
She's got so much, probably more than anyone on this team.
Front handspring Rudy, immediate back handspring layout, step out. Excellent first pass, plenty of amplitude there.
It showed right there. I love when the crowd gets involved.
They've been a little quieter than the Friday night crowd. Waking up now for Morgan Reynolds' second pass, big double pike, came in with her chest down just a little bit. Huge leaps.
Oh, yeah. For such a tiny little girl, she really knows how to get up in the air.
And we heard Dana Durrani tell us on that Friday night against LSU after Morgan in her first meet here in Stegman Coliseum at a 9-9 on floor. They just talked about her work ethic and the fact that they need to kick her off of the equipment at the end of the day. She just wants to train, train, train.
Oh, and honestly, that is how she is every single day. First one in the gym, last one out. This girl's a workhorse.
Back 1.5, front layout. Very good. Great routine overall from Morgan Reynolds. Very well done, and the crowd just loves her. I talked about it with Lindsey Cheek and with Morgan as well. The Athens crowd loves their Athens girls.
Oh,
they do. You can the cheers get just a little bit louder.
They really do. And even if she wasn't from Athens, her smile and her personality, you can't help but love her.
That is true. 9-1 for Amy Romilly on beam. Again, 3 straight falls for Kentucky. Here is Audrey Harrison trying to break that streak. Reynolds comes up with a 9-8. So unfortunately, Georgia scores trending in the wrong direction after that opening 9-9 for Kaylan Earls. She set the bar so high. 3 sophomores will bring us home. Mary Beth Box, Brittany Rogers, and Brandie Jay.
Audrey so far with a solid beam routine. Going for her flight series, which is where some of her teammates have had trouble on. Back handspring, back layout. Fortunately, she fell as well. Just a rough night for Kentucky on beam.
Yeah.
Lead pass, switch leap, straddle quarter. Slight balance check there. It looks like their confidence as a whole is just a little bit shaken right now. Back handspring, back 1.5. Great dismount, though.
Yeah.
Good finish to the routine.
Well, Mary Beth Box had a terrific start to Georgia's 3rd rotation on balance beam, and she will get to compete 4th for Georgia on floor. 9-9 for Kaylan Earls, 9-8-5 for Kat Hires, 9-8 for Morgan Reynolds. Mary Beth had a 9-9 on the road last week at Florida. That was a season high, matched her career high. First pass for Mary Beth.
Woo. Sky high. I love watching this girl tumble. I could watch her all day.
Good leap combination to set herself up in the corner for her second pass.
I will never forget watching her first competition routine ever last year, scoring a 9-9.
gigantic double tuck. That was higher than the double pike.
Somehow, I don't know how she did it.
Bigger second pass. Actually, her first routine unofficially was in Lexington last year. She competed in exhibition and got a 9.9.
Was that unofficial?
That was unofficial. Then officially she did it at NC State in Raleigh. I have just started to think over the course of last year that was just in the lineup because it was good enough today.
It's so big.
As you know, you've competed a handful of times in exhibition. It is hard to get a big score in exhibition. Sometimes the judges, I feel like, just have it in their mind that there's a certain cap on it. And, unfortunately, just came in a little bit wonky on that third pass.
She didn't quite get enough turnover on that back 1.5, so came in a little short on that front layout.
It's a tough one. She had such a good routine going. Avoided the fall. She kind of shuffled and stayed on her feet, but a little bit of a deduction there coming on that third pass. So a tough break after a great start, but again, she's in a great position with where she is right now on floor. We go back to beam. Kentucky looking for a hit routine here. Marissa Buechler in the 5th position.
Marissa starting off with a back handspring, back layout stuck. So far, so good. That's what's been giving her teammates a little bit of trouble tonight. Tuck full, twiddle jump combination.
9-7 is the score for Mary Beth, so that's the one that stands to be dropped right now for Georgia. Brittany Rogers and Brandie Jay remain.
Marissa split jump, back handspring, or back layout step out, excuse me. Slight balance check. She landed with her chest a little bit low. The judge is looking for her shoulders to be straight up and down when she comes out of that layout. Going for her dismount, round off, back 1.5, stuck landing. I tell you what, they're hitting their dismounts tonight. I'll give them that.
Very good job, and good to see a hit routine there. Took a little bit of fight in the middle of it from Buechler, but she is up to the task. One routine left for Kentucky. And the Georgia student section rises to welcome Brittany Rogers, the sophomore.
This routine really shows off a different side of Brittany that we didn't see last year, how graceful she is.
And she was all about the energy last year in the floor routine.
Gorgeous.
Best 2.5 of the year. And I suppose since that's a new pass of her career, she's been kind of over-rotating, taking that step or that hop forward. That time came a little bit backward, but it looked much more controlled.
Oh, yeah, as we talked about, that's a hard pass to land because you are coming in blind, and you've got to be perfectly in line with that corner.
Round off back 1.5, front layout. And again, just a small step backward.
It looked like her legs buckled a little bit after that 1.5.
9.65 for Marissa Buechler on beam. Brittany Rogers, one pass remaining on floor. Final pass coming for Brittany Rogers, finishing with a double pike. Good job there.
When she might have struggled on that second pass, she really made up for it in her last.
Yep. A very good routine there for Brittany Rogers, and Brandie Jay will close out the day for Georgia in that anchor position. But first, Holly Cunningham will bring Kentucky home. Floor scores coming up quick. 9.775 for Brittany Rogers.
Holly with a solid full turn to start the routine off. Going for her flight series. Back handspring, step out, back handspring, layout with the fall.
Just a tough day for Kentucky on the balance beam. Sometimes that's going to happen.
Lead pass, switch lead with a balance check into a straddle quarter. A lot of gymnasts get some of their bonus points from their elite pass combination, so I'll be curious to see if the judge takes that. Holly with a side aerial.
Yeah, that's where, even if you see the fall, you know, obviously that's worth 5/10, and you see some of the scores in that 9-1, 9-2 range because you're also losing those connection bonuses and things like that.
Round off double full, looked pretty good. Her chest is down just a hair.
So that will finish a day for Kentucky. They really, again, the falls on bars and the falls on beam are going to be what is going to make this something to build off of and work on. Kentucky's been in the 195 range this season. 194.65 was their low score of the year, 195.150 their high score of the year. So this will be just one they want to put behind them, move on, and you get to a point of the year in RQS where this score won't even matter for the Wildcats. So Georgia has clinched a 197 score and a win today. To finish it up, Brandie Jay. First pass. Full out for the first time this year.
There we go.
It makes its debut.
And it was flawless. What a first pass.
Well, if you're a Georgia fan, you got to check off your wish list today. 1.5's on vault from Brittany Rogers and Brandie Jay. Sarah Persinger's in on beam, and Brandie Jay does the full out. I think we've satisfied everything.
It's been a good day.
Christmas has come early for Georgia fans.
You know what? We haven't had the record-setting scores this meet, but we have made so many improvements with all these new routines and add-ins.
Yeah, a lot of upgrades, a lot of changes, and if you're still hitting 197 plus, you're doing something right.
Exactly. They're just going to continue to get better.
Brandie Jay finishing up. Double pike. Excellent.
Oh my gosh.
What a
routine.
Brandie Jay caps off another home win for Georgia. The Gym Dogs unbeaten in Stegman Coliseum, and Brandie Jay does it in style.
Wow.
Excellent job. A phenomenal floor routine for Brandie Jay with the upgrade and all. Didn't miss a beat. Excellent routine and a fine Saturday afternoon for the Georgia Gym Dogs.
So many great things tonight, so many positives, so many improvements. It has really been such an incredible night for the team, and I know they're going to continue to build. They're only halfway through the season, and they've already gone this far with these greatest scores. It's just going to continue to get better.
Brandie Jay may have a new season high. She does. It's a 9.95 to cap off the day for the Gym Dogs. And a huge ovation for Brandie Jay.
Well deserved. No one can tumble like that girl, and especially to add in that first pass, you know she is just ecstatic.
We are going to have an exhibition on floor before we give you the final scores today, so stay with us here.
Exhibition from the University of Georgia on floor exercise. This is Ashlyn Broussard.
Ashlyn Broussard will get to exhibition on floor. She was in the lineup at the very beginning of the season, and so a good chance to get another routine under her belt here in Stegman Coliseum. Ashlyn's first pass, big double tuck, excellent.
And she's another one who is able to upgrade her floor routine because her first pass, she came in training a double layout, which is huge. And so hopefully throughout the season, we'll get to see that from Ashlyn.
I can't remember the last double layout first pass we had at Georgia. You got to go back.
It's been a couple years.
Yeah. Be good to see when and if that does happen.
Oh, yeah.
Front handspring, front layout.
Oop.
And I think just, popped out, unfortunately, on that back 1.5.
That'll be a 1/10 deduction.
And so much of our discussion about Ashlyn has centered on the same theme this year, which is she has so much power, and it's a matter of, as a freshman, you kind of just have to learn how to harness it. And that's, part of the transition when you come from club gymnastics to college gymnastics. It really is so much about how clean and how precise you are, not just throwing the biggest skill possible, but really honing in on making it clean, and finishes up with a nice double pike there.
And when you're already a gymnast like her who does have so much power, especially on this event, you've got to not only harness that, but the adrenaline you get from competing in front of your friends, your fellow students, and 10,000 other fans watching you.
Georgia finishes with a 49.225 on floor exercise, highlighted by that 49.275 on floor exercise, highlighted by that 9.95 from Brandie Jay. And Georgia will win it today with a score of 197.3, just 1/10 off of the season high score for Georgia that they got here at home against Iowa. 190.9 for Kentucky. That'll be a score that they'll throw away come the RQS point of the season. It may drag them down a little bit in the average this coming week, but they are a better team than what they showed today. They'll clean up some of those misses on bars and on beam, and you'd like to see them be able to continue some of the success that they had last year with 3 SEC wins. You'd like to see them get back into form this year, but today all about the Gym Dogs making some big changes and starting to this is starting to feel a little bit more like a postseason ready team now. They've been through that early season gauntlet. Now you spend the rest of the regular season trying to improve here and there. We've seen some upgrades, we saw some lineup changes, and it adds up to a very good 197.3 for Georgia.
Absolutely. We didn't have those record scores tonight. We had some great scores, but this team has showed that they have one thing, and that is consistency. And so to get another 197 tonight, above a 197, just shows that these girls have got confidence. They know how to do their routines, and they know how to do them well.
It's been a great day for Georgia athletics overall. Georgia men's and women's swimming, Georgia women's tennis, Georgia equestrian, and now Georgia gymnastics, all getting wins on this very busy Saturday. We want to thank you so much for being with us here inside Stegman Coliseum. Want to thank our crew, absolutely the best anywhere in the country. Our director, Dana McGaw, our cameraman stationed all over the building, up in the rafters, down below in the tunnel today. Elijah Gallus, Krista Tonella, Danny Bryan, and Katie did some shooting for us as well before she got on the air with us, and that'll be coming up in the latest episode of the Georgia Gym Dog Show. Please watch it this Wednesday at 2 on CSS, 2:30 p.m. here on GeorgiaDogs.com. I, of course, want to thank my partner, Katie Brazil, and our sports information director, Ben Beatty. On behalf of all of us here at Georgia Dogs,